I got my microphone working! Yippee! Hello there! Today I figured to get myself back into the swing of things, I'd take a trip down memory lane and revisit some old Blender projects of mine. Now, I've been making 3D art for 4-ish years now, and so I wanted to test my ability and see just how much I've actually progressed. Now, I do want to express that as much as I want these renders to look their best, the purpose of this experiment is not to invalidate or criticise my old art, but more so to see how I can give them new life with my current skill set. Now then, enough wasting time, let's see who's first on the chopping block. Old childhood favourite. This is a render I made back in 2023, which is actually not as long ago as I thought. I could have sworn this was a 22 or 21 project, but nevertheless, the challenge was set to revitalise a solid render from the past. So I spent a while flicking through reference pictures of BMO himself, or herself, to refresh my memory on how exactly this chap should look. Scaling, texturing, positioning, etc. It took me a little while to find my footing in the workflow, but in short time I got into the swing of things, bringing BMO back to Blender. Now, there's about an hour of work in this time-lapse, but I spent an additional half hour or so touching up the textures, setting up the scene lighting and such. So once that was all in order, the final render was, well, ready. And you know what? Better than I was expecting. In reality, it isn't too much of a departure from the original. Only a few details are different in terms of design. Aside from that, the texturing and scene setup do most of the job here. Even so, both equally pleasant renditions of BMO. Surprising. Now, next in line was this old render I did of some drawers? I'm not quite sure what the story is behind this one, but it piqued my interest. But I was too hasty and forgot to record any of the modelling process. Embarrassing, I know. So, with no way to prove I made any of this, I half-assed some assets and went looking for something to make and record. And at last, I found this. A short animation of a flux capacitor. You know, from Back to the Future. Big fan myself. So I grabbed some reference, down to Pepsi Perfect, and if my calculations are correct, when this thing hits 88 samples per frame, you're gonna see some serious shit. Too niche of a reference? Maybe. And, well, there you have it. I really did want to make this a short, quick video. I feel like people don't want to spend ages watching time-lapses of me model random stuff from the past. But, you know, nevertheless, these are the finished results, these are the originals, and I couldn't be happier. I really enjoyed doing this. I was very skeptical that these would turn out any better than the originals, especially the flux capacitor. It's a very difficult design and model to kind of get your head around, so, you know, but definitely fun stuff. Especially the blueprints in the background. Subtle details. Subtle details. But anyway, that's all I got for you lot today. Thank you so much for dropping by. And, yeah, go make something.